In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 NFL games happening on November 16, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets. As we provide these videos on a daily basis, I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 NFL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Washington Commanders versus Miami Dolphins. The NFL's International Series rolls on this Sunday with a matchup in Madrid, Spain between Washington and Miami. Washington entered the season with hopes built on last year's run to the NFC title game, but the league has a way of cutting grand plans down to size. Now riddled with injuries, the club sits at 3-7 and once again misses quarterback Jaden Daniels because of a dislocated elbow. The Skid has reached 5 straight losses, including 4 in a row by at least 21 points. The situation looks bleak, yet this season has shown that struggling teams sometimes find a spark. Miami is the best example. The group has rallied under its head coach and has started to compete with real effort. It has won 2 of its last 3 outings and reached at least 30 points in both wins against Atlanta and Buffalo. Last weekend's upset of Buffalo stood out because Devon Achane produced 225 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns. He now meets a Washington defense ranked 23rd against the run at 134.4 yards per game allowed, and one that gives up 4.6 yards per carry, also ranked 23rd. International games bring odd travel demands and unfamiliar conditions. They seldom offer comfort. Washington enters the game with a long injury list and a defense that struggles to slow any opponent. The team will not have Jaden Daniels or Terry McLaurin, and its defense ranks 30th in total defense. Miami arrives with 2 wins in its last 3 contests, including the convincing result over Buffalo, although it has not won back-to-back games since last December, the overall records match. Yet Washington has only 1 road win and has dropped 5 straight. Miami has also controlled recent meetings. The line looks soft given these trends as our first pick for this matchup. The Miami Dolphins to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Quarterback play shapes much of the uncertainty here. Washington turns to Marcus Mariota, who offers steady but limited production. He has 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in his recent action, and the offense has scored only 29 total points in his last 2 starts. Miami counters with Tua Tagovailoa, who leads the league with 13 interceptions and has thrown 9 in the last 5 games. Miami's offense reflects that inconsistency. In its last 4 games, it has scored 30 or more points twice and exactly 6 points twice. Washington has not cleared 22 points in a game since Week 6, and now faces a Miami defense that just shut down Josh Allen. Any game involving Washington's defense invites caution with totals, yet the posted number sits high relative to recent production by both offenses as our second pick for this matchup. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Green Bay Packers versus New York Giants. The Green Bay Packers visit the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium on Sunday. The matchup brings 2 teams that have struggled to find steady form. The Packers have been poor against the spread this season. They have covered only once in their last 7 games despite holding a record of 3-3-1. Their offense has stalled for weeks, and the group enters this game after scoring a total of 20 points across its last 2 outings. Even if they show improvement against a Giants roster that looks vulnerable on paper, there is little reason to expect smooth progress. The Giants remain hard to evaluate. They did not win a game this season until Jackson Dart stepped in at quarterback for Russell Wilson. Jameis Winston sat behind both players on the depth chart until this week. He produced a few bright moments during a 7-game run as the Browns starter last season, although the team finished with a 2-5 record and every loss came by multiple scores. It is unclear how the Giants' offense will look with Winston under the play caller's direction. The uncertainty could help them if the unit keeps mistakes low and follows the plan with care. The Packers' offense enters this contest in a fog. They remain at 3-6 against the spread and offer no steady reason for bettors to rely on them. The Giants have lost 4 straight games, but the average margin in those defeats sits at 8.25 points. They have stayed competitive. This will also be their first game after the dismissal of head coach Brian Daboll. Many teams spark for at least a short stretch after a mid-season change, and that history adds another layer to the setup. The Packers have scored 13 or fewer points in consecutive games. games. If their production holds at that level, the Giants would not need a sharp performance to stay within the number. The offensive issues on the Packers' side leave this meeting tight on paper, and the final call rests on whether their attack can rise above the recent trouble. As our first pick for this matchup, the New York Giants to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Giants' offense opened the season with major trouble, scoring fewer than 10 points in 2 of their first 3 games before Dart took over. The Packers enter this game after 2 straight defeats by 3 points in which the total score in each contest stayed below 30. Their earlier 13-10 loss to the Browns showed the same pattern. Both teams have worked through heavy inconsistency on offense, and each carries that pattern into this meeting. One side might find rhythm, but both doing so at the same time looks unlikely. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Chicago Bears versus Minnesota Vikings. The Chicago Bears visit the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday at US Bank Stadium in an NFC North clash. The matchup revisits their opening week meeting, a close loss for Chicago that ended 27-24. Chicago has shifted since that start, moving from an 0-2 to 0, beginning to a run of 6 wins in its last 7 outings. The offense under its first-year coach has held steady, reaching at least 24 points in most games this season and slipping below that mark only a few times. The quarterback has grown into his role and now owns 16 total touchdowns, with 13 through the air and 3 on the ground. His command of the unit has helped Chicago stay even at the top of the division. Minnesota has lived through a stop-and-start year at 4-5-0. The team has not built a real streak, and its rhythm has faded each time it forms. The rotation at quarterback has added strain. One option is now out for the season, which brings the rookie back to the starting job. He has thrown more picks than scores in his first 4 games and has yet to settle into a consistent pace. Home field has offered little comfort. The Vikings have won only 1 game in their own building this year, and the defense has slipped into the middle tier in points allowed. The earlier meeting swung late with 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns, yet since then Chicago has steadied while Minnesota has stayed uneven. In the side analysis, the factors point to a clear contrast in form. Chicago brings a steady offense, a mobile quarterback who protects the ball, and a stretch of wins that show real improvement. Minnesota shows effort but struggles to finish games, and its passing game stays limited. The earlier meeting leaned toward Minnesota late, yet most signs around the rematch suggest a tighter and slower path. Only at the end does the picture resolve. As our first pick for this matchup, the Chicago Bears to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The first meeting gave the scoreboard 51 points, but most of the action came late. Chicago held a 17-6 edge before both teams exploded in the final minutes. For much of the day, the game looked like a grind on each side. A similar pattern may return here. Minnesota has topped 22 points only once since week 3. The rookie quarterback shows effort but has not sparked the offense. He posted low yardage totals in the opener, and Minnesota gained only 254 yards. Chicago had a modest day too, with 317 yards and 5 yards per play. Injuries add more weight. The starting running back handles a groin issue, plus a hip concern, and both starting receivers carry questions about their status. With each concern in place, any rise in scoring looks less likely. The parts fit together only at the end. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Houston Texans versus Tennessee Titans. Houston enters this matchup after a wild rally against Jacksonville last week. They pulled off that win at home, but now they travel without their starting quarterback. The Texans have struggled away from home with a 1-3 road mark, and their path here depends on a strong defensive effort while they rely on Mills under center. Tennessee has its own issues at home with an 0-4 record, and the team has given up at least 27 points in 3 straight outings. The Titans have a chance to grab a second win because Houston turns to a backup quarterback. Yet the Tennessee offense has not shown that it can sustain pressure or match long drives. The Titans have only 1 victory through 9 games played. Their attack ranks at the bottom of the league, and their defense sits near the bottom as well. They have dropped games by an average margin of 14.2 points. Houston sits on the opposite end with a defense that has set the pace for the league. Their ability to disrupt possessions and limit scoring gives them room to control this contest. The Texans can lean on that strength to create steady field position and limit Tennessee's rhythm. When the Texans impose that structure, they often keep the game on their preferred terms. That sets up a path that comes into focus only once both sides reveal whether Tennessee can find any spark or whether Houston's defense keeps the game in its grasp. As our first pick for this matchup, the Houston Texans to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both offenses have had trouble staying on the field for long stretches, and neither unit has produced big plays with any consistency. Houston has averaged 22 points without its starting quarterback, and Tennessee sits at 14.4 points, which places them at the bottom of the league. Houston's defense has held opponents below 17 points, and Tennessee's offensive line problems make sustained drives difficult. Houston works through a steady, balanced approach, while Tennessee aims to shorten games and control tempo. That blend shapes a matchup that moves at a slower pace, with long possessions and limited explosive gains. How both teams handle third downs, red zone trips, and early field position will decide the direction of the game before the scoring pattern becomes clear. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Buffalo Bills. A week packed with strong matchups includes a notable game in Buffalo, where the Bills host the Buccaneers in a meeting that could shape playoff seeding for both conferences. Each team arrives after a rough loss. Buffalo fell to Miami as a clear favorite, while Tampa Bay lost at home to a surging Patriots team, which marked the second setback in the last 3 games for Tampa Bay. This would often be a spot to back Buffalo at home, especially after a flat performance in Miami, but the current number feels hard to support when looking at the matchup and the injury report for the home team. Buffalo builds its offense around the run under coordinator Joe Brady, and Miami showed last week that the right front can shut that down. When the Bills fail to create manageable downs early in drives, Josh Allen faces long passing situations that strain the offense. Tampa Bay holds a real edge here, with a top 3 rush defense by success rate and a 4th-ranked rush defense by defense-adjusted value over average. Tampa Bay struggles more against the pass, but Buffalo might be without Dalton Kincaid, who has become Allen's most reliable target. That leaves fewer answers against a Buccaneers front that brings pressure and can still generate it with 4 rushers. On defense, Buffalo remains worn down after more injuries last week. Even with Baker Mayfield cooling off lately, Tampa Bay should be able to move the ball enough to stay within reach. Tampa Bay also has some injuries among its skill players, but the team continues to find ways to win and looks like a steady NFC contender. Buffalo's issues against the run make it tough to slow opponents. Tampa Bay has gone 4-1 on the road this season and continues to look sharp. As our first pick for this matchup, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The total has dropped from the open. The weather forecast calls for steady winds between 15 and 20 miles per hour, which could limit both passing attacks. Buffalo may miss key pieces in the passing game, and the wind could make that problem worse. Buffalo has the highest rush rate in the league and will likely lean on long ground-based drives. Tampa Bay's run game lacks spark with Bucky Irving out, and Mayfield has leveled off. Both offenses may produce long possessions, which reduces total drives. That leads to fewer chances for points. Each defense does solid work on third down. Tampa Bay has allowed 45 conversions in 117 tries, while Buffalo has allowed 39 in 104. Allen has turned the ball over more often, with a 4-3 touchdown to interception line. During the last 2 games, he has thrown 6 touchdown passes in his last 4 games, which shows how the offense has stalled. Each factor points toward a quieter scoring output than the number suggests. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them. So leave a comment down below and do let us know.